Well, it has certainly been a Reagan day here in mid-Missouri. President Reagan left the Columbia Regional Airport just over 2 hours ago. Columbia city officials accompanied him to the airport. Reagan waved to the crowds as he boarded Air Force One, marking the end to his visit to Columbia, leaving behind only the press corps at the airport. It may seem easy when you get to be president. You fly in, get off the plane, make a few speeches. But for those who make a living following the commander-in-chief, it's a little more hectic. News Center 8's Stuart Maddox found out just what a fast pace really means when he followed the press following the president.
This is a bowl of guppies eating each other up.
And anyway, these are phones. Hi, it's Andrew.
And while each one is trying to bite each other, they're all scrambling for the best view out the fishbowl. Now, I'm new to this news business, I admit that, but this is ridiculous. It's
a little bit of a zoo. It's always kind of crazy when you're piled into a plane like this and you're shuttled around the country, and frequently you can take a trip like this and spend several hours outside of Washington and never see the president.
These are perfectly normal people driven to the edge by a yellow rope getting increasingly smaller around their necks, a clock moving closer to the zero mark. And when there is a moment of privacy between president and press, it's drowned by jets waiting impatiently for other destinations. And this is the life of average human beings thrown into center ring. Every day a different big top. Is it any wonder that the memories of these nomads fade so quickly?
I thought we were in Nashville.
No, sorry. Columbia.
Columbia? I better call my desk. I said Reagan spoke in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, well. Pay no mind. It is a nomad's life, the life of a guppy. Stuart Maddox, News Center 8,
This
Columbia.
Iran thing had been, quote, driving her crazy. Patiently, the president explained.
And I'm afraid it wasn't carried out the way we had thought it would be. It sort of settled down to just trading arms for hostages at good schools.
Later, at Hickman High School, another of the schools cited for excellence, the president was made an honorary Kewpie, the school mascot seated right.
With a name like Kewpie's, you gotta be good, and Hickman is.
After brief comments at the airport, the president's motorcade headed for its next stop, Fairview Elementary School. Mid-Missourians line led the president as both signs of support and protest dotted the crowd. President Reagan addressed the crowd of onlookers through a loudspeaker system. Police estimate the crowd on Broadway at 15,000.
Since access to the president was restricted throughout his visit, those mid-Missourians who were able to catch even a glimpse of the president will remember that glimpse for a lifetime. Ken Evans, News Center 8, Columbia.
But there were some people who didn't come to celebrate. A couple hundred protesters lined the parade routes, demonstrating against Mr. Reagan's policies. From education to Iran.
To have recognition, it's that we should not be used for that recognition for political purposes.
Well, back to the basics. That was the battle cry of President Reagan's speech to educators and governors in Columbia today. The president spoke at Hickman High School this afternoon, saying Americans are galvanized for education reform. He said the conference, called Time for Results, has produced a broad consensus on what needs to be done for education. But according to Reagan, that doesn't include spending more money.
And part of that consensus has been that more money is not the key to higher quality. The 60s and 70s were decades of rising spending, but falling SAT scores. And then it turned out that a number of states, for example, New Hampshire, spent only modestly on education, but had among the nation's most effective schools.
Reagan's visit to Columbia is his first public appearance since November, when the Iran arms scandal first came to light. During his visit to Fairview Elementary, 6th grader Heather Watson wanted to know how Reagan could stand the nonstop questioning about the Iran-Contra scandal. Reagan talked about the meetings leading up to the Iran deal and admitted that the ordeal turned into an arms for hostages exchange.
And I'm afraid it wasn't carried out the way we had thought it would be. It sort of settled down to just trading arms for hostages, and that's a little like paying ransom to a kidnapper. If you do it, then the kidnapper's just encouraged to go kidnap someone else.
After President Reagan visited Fairview Elementary School, he went on to talk to students at Hickman High School. Ever since they got the news of the presidential visit, the Hickman CUPE crew worked very hard to make President Reagan's visit a perfect one. The president spoke in the Hickman Gymnasium to educational leaders as well as the Hickman students. When it was all over, the students walked away with a proud feeling inside.
I was interested when he was talking to us. It was more of he was talking to us more like he was on our level than he was a politician type thing, you know. But then when he went in, I was kind of impressed with all the comments he made and everything he said about the education, you know. He seemed really interested.
I kind of liked it when he started talking about the stories, and especially when he talked to us in the auditorium and told us about the time he was leading the band and walked on when the band turned. It takes a lot of courage for a president like that to admit a fault, I guess.
The White House staff said it wanted to show that President Reagan is not afraid to get out in public and answer questions. And when Reagan did get out in Columbia, reporters asked why he hadn't done it earlier.
I only stayed away from you before because I didn't know anything to answer the questions that you all had, and I'm still waiting to find out some of them.
But the agenda today was education, and Reagan visited Fairview Elementary School. First, a 6th grade civics class, where he explained the Iran arms deal.
It's sort of settled down to just trading arms for hostages. And that's a little like paying ransom to a kidnapper. If you do it, then the kidnapper's just encouraged to go kidnap someone else.
Then onto a 3rd grade computer class, where the president learned how to operate a lemonade stand at a profit. Reporters asked if the lesson applied to the deficit.
What they're all teasing me about is the fact that our government is spending more than it takes in.
In the afternoon, it was on to Hickman High School, where the president's visit brought a lot of security and a lot of excitement.
I mean, I'll probably never see another president as long as I live, so got to do it sometime in your life.
I don't know who's more excited, the students or the teachers.
The main event was Reagan's address to students and educators at a national conference on education at Hickman.
Basic skills, standards, discipline, work, family support, ethical principles. This is the new American consensus on the secret to quality education.
For the president, this was just another stop on his tour of political duty. For the people here at Hickman High, this was a day they'll never forget.
In Columbia for Cover Story, Alex Sirkin, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
And President Reagan gave Education Secretary William Bennett what he called a homework assignment at the end of his speech. The president told Bennett that he wants a report a year from now on progress of education in America.